Right. Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial from the Tableau tunnel series. My name is Nanad and thanks for joining me today. Today I'm just putting together a very simple tutorial for how you can use the YouTube Coder, which is a web-based application prepared by FC Python, which is a fantastic resource for everything related to Python, everything that you wish to learn in terms of its applications and so forth. So do check them out on Twitter. And this is essentially their application, wherein you can use a YouTube video. You can use the footage of a match on YouTube and link it in here. I've copied the Argentina Brazil Copa America final and its link here. And if you wish to choose another YouTube video, you can copy and paste that in the URL box up here. And what you essentially have here is your football pitch. You have a few events listed up here, and you have the home and away team and their players. So H1 is the player one, A1 is the first player for the away team, and you get the rest, right? What this pitch here is for essentially is for you to tag the events, as in where they took place. So, for example, if I want to mark a shot that was taken by, say, player H2 outside the opposition penalty area, I can mark it here, and you can see the X and Y location of that shot is reflected here, and that is added to the table. Okay, so similarly I can add a few more shots. So let's say he took a shot from here, here and here. Okay, so you have all these five shots, five different locations, and yeah, all of them belong to H2, and their respective X and Y coordinates can be seen here. X2 and Y2 are the end locations. So this is more in reference to passes, which we'll come on to in a bit. So let's tag a few shots for the player A2 as well, so that we can have a nice little shot map. Let's say they took quite a few shots from outside the box, because why not? Okay, that's probably one too many shots, but yeah. So that's essentially how you can tag shots. Is take your cursor onto any part of the pitch that you wish to identify where the shot was taken from, and then you just click, and that's it. It's done. It's that simple, right? Yeah, and if you wish to highlight a different result, now say if you wish to record that the first shot that we've marked here, if you wish to make this, the result of the shot a goal, what you can simply do is you can click on edit tags. You can say add tag, okay, and then you can just add a new tag that says goal, and then you can click on edit tag again, which closes the editing option, and then you have a tag here which can allow you to mark goals. So let's mark a few goals for player H2 and A2 on both sides. So let's say H2 scored a couple of goals from really decent locations in front of the goal mouth, and A2 scored probably the goal of his life from, this is probably 35 yards if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, okay, so we have a couple of goals for H2 and we have a goal for A2. Okay, so what we can do next is learn how to mark passes. Okay, so in simple theory, a pass is essentially, the trajectory of the ball from point A to point B. And point A consists of X and Y coordinates, and point B also consists of X and Y coordinates, which is what you are going to do here. Okay, so let's say I wish to mark a pass from near the halfway line straight down to the penalty spot. Okay, and this is for team, the home team. So let's say player H3, who is probably a fullback, has whipped in a very nice pass, and he's ended it at the penalty spot. So what I've done here is I've um, clicked on the start location. Just delete last. I clicked on the start location, dragged my cursor, and then released it at the end point. What that does is it sort of starts the pass's trajectory at the start location, which is near the halfway line, and then wherever you stop, no, dragging the cursor, and wherever you release it, that becomes the endpoint automatically. Okay, so this is a pass. Okay, and unfortunately you cannot do curved lines in this. At least I haven't come across a method wherein you can do that. But say, for example, if you wish to mark, if you are in the process of collecting a pass, and if you make a mistake for the trajectory and you want to change it up, or you want to delete the event that you created, what you can simply do is just click X on this and it will get deleted, or you can just click on delete last, and the last record or the last event that you tagged here will get deleted. It's as simple as that. Okay, so I hope I've made sense so far. I'm just going to mark a few more passes so that we can experiment on our worksheet later on. Okay, we have a few passes for H3. Let's mark a few passes for A3 as well. Oh, sorry, that one went out of bounds. So see what just happened. The pass started from inside the pitch, but it went outside, outside the pitch. So that did not get marked as a pass. Okay, so let's say I wish to mark from here to here. Okay, there we go. That's one pass. And let's say we have crossed from here. That's another. This is another. And one from zone 14. And one from the right half space. The De Bruyne ball. Let's say it ends up here. Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good visualization of the De Bruyne ball. Right. Okay. So we're done with shots. We're done with passes. What we can also do with the method for passes is to do carries. Okay. Now carries, when you break it down to simple terms, in alternate terms, in fact, it's merely a collection of passes, right? When you um, try to put it on paper, it's essentially the trajectory of one pass after another pass after another pass after another pass. The difference here is that the starting location of the second pass becomes the is equivalent to the end location of the first pass. So if you do that for multiple chains of passes, it becomes a carry, right? Simple. So what I'm going to do here is I'll click on edit tags. I'll click on add tag. There we go. A new tag there. It's gonna say carry. Okay. I'm gonna click on edit tags again. There you go. That's gone. And let's say we want to mark a few carries for player H4. Now let's say this player started his carry from the midway line. Okay, and right, so he's carrying the ball from halfway through the pitch, and then he's stopped here. Okay, so you can see, yeah, the end location for that is 35, 3450. Okay, so I'm going to start dragging the cursor from there exactly, and I'm going to drag it up a little bit further. There we go. Same location again has become the starting location of the next one, right? And I'm going to drag it a little bit further, a bit of a zigzag carry, right? So this is, so you can see here, this is three collections of points, right? So, or rather three pairs of points. I think that is more accurate to say. So you have the carry starting from near the halfway line and goes a little bit further, closer to the half spaces, and then it penetrates the penalty area. Now let's mark another carry for another player from H5. Okay, let's say he started the carry from near the halfway line again, went all the way down. Let's say this is an overlapping run, and he has reached the left side of the penalty box, or the goal mark basically. So H5, the player has started from here near the halfway line, and he's gone on to the location beside the goalpost. Okay, so now you have two carries here. One is for player H4 and you have player H5. I'm going to do the same for a couple of players on the away side as well, so that we have a good number of carries to visualize. Let's say they also recorded similar types of carries. And yeah, so you can see this is fairly simple to use, and if you the only thing that you really need to do is make sure that you are tagging the events according to the proper locations that you see them on the pitch, and the rest is it's done for you. You don't have to do a lot of you don't have to do a lot of hard work for this. Now the purpose of the YouTube video here is essentially for you to mark the timestamps of where these events took place. Now say if you wish to mark events that happened only in the first half, right? So how you can do that is, now this video is only 9 minutes long, but say if you had a YouTube video to a full match on YouTube, that's the full duration of a game, which is 90 minutes. So what happens there is you can sort of divide the events as per the halves that they occurred in, or the time periods in which they occurred in. So the first half, second half, or if you want to mark the first quarter of the game, the second quarter, third quarter, and so on. That's really up to you. But the timestamps can really help you to sort of differentiate between the halves that the events took place in. Right. So that's why the minutes and seconds fields are available here for you to reference. But since I did not, eventually end up playing the video, all of the events here are tagged at 00, which is to say that they occurred, at the start of the game, which is, I know, practically impossible for all of this to happen, but let's just roll with it. Okay, so I think we have a good number of carries here for the away side. We have good number of carries for the home side as well. We have two players here, and we have the same player carrying a whole bunch of times. Okay, so I think we are through with the data collection part. Now you see there are all of these different events. We have shots, we have a few goals, we have passes, and we have carries. Okay, so what you are going to do next is to export them in CSV format, just comma separated values. Okay, so let's just say let's just call this file sample events. Okay, and the name of the file is important. You'll come to understand that later. Okay, so what you next need to do is open the CSV file that you just created. Okay, now what you need to do here is assign event IDs to each of the events. Okay, so let's do that. And let's say the shots, all of them had different event IDs. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And okay, you know what? I don't need to type this manually. I can just do this. Um, right. Okay. So now we have that. And then what we can do is, I think we can carry this on for the passes as well. We don't need to worry too much about that. Sorry about that. Okay. There we go. We have different event IDs for all of these passes. Okay. Now for the carries, now this is where you need to pay attention. So say you wish to mark a single player's carry. Okay, now you need to make sure that each pair of points have the same event ID linked to them. Okay, so say for example, if I mark 29 here, the same player's the collection of points that make up his or her carry need to carry the same event ID. Okay, so let's say this player has 29. You have to make sure that all of the points carry the same event ID. Okay, now let's say 30, 30, 31, 31, 31, and yeah, okay, so 31, 31, 31. Okay, this is another type of carry, so 32, 32, and I think that this carry ends within 2 points. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's correct. 33, 33. Okay, so I think we are done with the data prep part. Fantastic. I hope this was simple enough to follow so far. Right, so let's quickly save this as it is and fire up Tableau. Right, so open the text file. We have our sample events. Let's open that. Now, before you proceed any further, just click on the data interpreter so that your x2 and y2, the fields that are null, I mean the cells that are null, become identified as 0, and thereby these become dimensions and measures. The differentiation is done easier. Then you have your fields here. What you need to do before you proceed further is to simply union the file, this data set with itself, and I'll tell you the purpose for this later. Okay, this extra field here, table name, this is going to come in handy for us. Okay, so let's get to the creation part. Okay, so now you have your worksheet, you have your x and y coordinates. I just quickly put up a scatter plot. Now you can see this is the sum of x values and the sum of y values plotted against each other. We don't want that. So we'll turn off aggregate measures, and you can see here, this is essentially a collection of all the events that have took place. So let's funnel it down to shots first. So shots and goals. Okay. So you can see here there is a random collection of shots on one end and the other. Let's add a background image, which will be the pitch. Right. So I already have a folder on my desktop which has two types of pitches. So let's drag in the regular one, and we can then adjust the axes for the pitch, the size of the pitch. You can choose to wash it out if you wish to, but yeah, I don't usually meddle with this, so I'll just let that be. Okay, so there we go. Now we just have to adjust the axes a little bit. So fix them. Minus 5, 105, and minus 5, 105. Okay, now you can make the type of marks as circles so that these become nicely filled. Let's give them bigger size. There we go. Now, since you only have two types of events here, you can see that you have goal and short, which is this. Okay, so let's differentiate between shots and goals here. Let's put up a nice, simple enough color scheme to follow, which is red is for shots and green is for goal. Now you can uncheck show header so that this cleans up the short map a little bit. You can uncheck zero lines, access rules, access rulers, access text, and yeah, I think that should do it. This is a short map. There you go. We're done with part one. Let's quickly head on to the pass maps. Now, before you move ahead with the pass maps, there are two calculated fields that you need to create by using the end coordinates and the start coordinates. Okay, so let's say the first new field is called new x, and say the table name if the table name is sample events. Okay, now name of your table is sample events, but it's important that you also mention the file extension, which is .csv. Okay, so let's say then x else x2. Okay, that is valid. Well and good. New y if table name is equal to sample events.csv else y2 and end. Okay, okay, we've made a mistake here. Just then y. Okay, I think it should be valid. Very good. Okay, so let's say do the same thing again. Repeat the steps for most part, and then you need to add an image here, which is to basically add the same football pitch background. But what you are making, what you are doing differently here is you are changing the x field and the y field. You're using new x and new y. So let's do that. X, y, there we go. That's 105. There we go. And filter out the events for, let's say, exclude goals, shots, and carries. Okay, now adjust the axes. 105. There we go. and minus 5, 105. Now you can see this is some random collection of points. What you need to do here is to change the type of marker to line markers. And again, this is sort of disorientated. So let's change that. There we go. Now you can see each of the passes have their own individual event ID and have been marked as such. So let's add table name to detail. Oh, sorry, that ruined it. Let's add table name to path. That should do it. And there we go. Now you can see where the pass started and where it ended. Okay, now let's add team to color, and there you go. You can see the home team passes and the away team passes. Okay, now I'm gonna uncheck show header, and this is your pass map. Right. So the only difference that we've sort of found here is that you're creating these calculated fields, which are new x and new y, and the formula for that is that you are referencing the table name sample events, and then you are asking Tableau to identify the start locations and the end locations, which is x and x2. Okay, let's adjust the opacity on these passes a little bit because there are a couple of them overlapping, so this looks a little bit neater. um, and sort of let this be at 65. I think 65 is good. There we go. Now these are your passes. Now let's quickly move on to your carries. Okay, so once again we'll use new x and new y. We'll turn off aggregate measures. Now the event here is carries only, so let's filter for carries. You can see here again there's random collection of points, and I'm hoping that if I do things right, it should separate and break into different carries. Let's drop it onto detail, and there you go. See, that's I think that's pretty much it. You drop table. Okay, that that ruins the carries, but you can, if you wish to, or you just leave the size part alone, but you can just manually resize them if you wish to. Okay, but yeah, one tricky thing here is, okay, you have these carries marked, but how do you differentiate the direction of these carries, right? So what you can do to understand the direction of the carry is to duplicate these axes with themselves. But what you will do differently is this. Okay, let's say new x and new y. There we go. And what I'll do is I will say dual axis. I say dual axis. Okay, and you can see here there is new x2 generated. Okay, so let's synchronize axis. Okay, there is new x2 generated, which is the field that we just introduced. Now both of them align, so they're naturally overlapping on top of one another. What we'll do is we'll change it to shape. Okay, now you can see here there are these shapes that are overlapping with the lines of the carries. Let's uncheck show header. Okay, so I think if we do this right, we can get it. What I'll do is I will add a custom shape to this. So there are all these different shapes that you can use. Um, but yeah, there we go. Let's say if we want to use this. But that doesn't make sense. It makes sense for this part of the pitch, but it doesn't make a lot of sense for this part. So if you want to sort of segregate that later on, you can do that. But yeah, if you wish to highlight directions, this is one way of doing it, is to duplicate the fields with themselves, and then synchronize the axes, use dual axis, and then add these markers as add these custom markers. Okay, I'll drop a link in the description for where you can find the collection of these icons that I found. It's a really good a way of sort of adding more funkiness to your pass maps. But essentially what you're trying to do is to differentiate the direction of carries, right? So I think let's just for now let's just stick with this. And yeah, okay, how about this? No, no, that doesn't look any better. Okay, cool. Let's just stick with this. What you can essentially understand is, because this is in the right direction, let's just assume that these players are moving leftwards, and these players are moving rightwards. Okay, so this is your carries. And oh, almost one more thing I forgot is to drop team name onto color. There we go. We have the home team and away team differentiated, and your passes, your shots, and your carries are now differentiated. Let's put them together onto a nice dashboard. And okay, a lot of you have sort of asked me questions about how to arrange these containers onto the dashboards in my DMs. Of course, I'll just quickly show how you can do that. You drop a horizontal container first, then you can drop these vertical containers to sort of make them equally sized. Okay, so now you see I have these equally sized containers. Before, when there were these two big vertical containers, I drop a third one here in between, and there's a division created, and these three are now equally sized. So let me just drop sheet 1 here. I'll remove this from the dashboard. Sheet 2 here, and sheet 3, which is your carries. Okay, guys, I think that's about it. This is how you can use um, the FC Python event tagger tool to create short maps, pass maps, and tagging carries. So let me know if you've enjoyed the video so far, and I hope the tutorial was useful. And once again, whenever you do use this event tagger tool, be sure to tag FC Python on Twitter, and be sure to tag the link to the tool itself, so that more and more people can explore how to use this tool and benefit from its applications. And yeah, this is how you can do it on Tableau. But once you've collected the data, you can basically use whichever platform that it is that you use to visualize your events. Okay, so with that being said, I think this is the end of the tutorial. I hope you found this useful, and let me know in the comments if there are any other type of events that you would like explained, and then I could probably sort of put out a post about those on Twitter as well, if there are enough requests about that. But yeah, for now this is it, and I hope you enjoy using this tool, and take care, be well, and stay safe. Thank you.